You're listening to the Surgeons of Horror podcast.
Hello, welcome to the Surgeons of Horror podcast. Its purpose is to dissect horror films, both old and new. My name is Saul Muerte, and I'm the lead host for the podcast sessions. And we've been dedicating this part of our season 7 of our podcast episodes to John Carpenter. Those of you that have been following our chats over the years know that we, a few years back, early on in like season 1 or 2, we looked at John Carpenter's early years. And now we're going to venture in and start look at the rest of his work for good and bad. And at the moment, we're about halfway through the 80s and where we've just kind of picked up. And we're going to talk about Big Trouble in Little China, which was a big film for John Carpenter. And before I introduce my colleague on the podcast chair next to me, I'm just going to kind of rattle through where we left things off. So with the earlier seasons that we talked about John Carpenter, we talked about Dark Star, Assault on Precinct 13, Halloween, Someone's Watching You, The Fog, Escape from New York, and then The Thing. And that's where we kind of put a little pin in that one there. Yeah. Since then, we've picked up and we have so far discussed Christine and Starman. Now, all of those films were happening pretty much consecutively year in, year out. And this exception comes between Starman and Big Trouble in Little China, whereas John Carpenter, for some reason, decided to take a year off in 1985, and he didn't do any work. But he comes back full force with Big Trouble in Little China. So to sit alongside me, as I said, to discuss and dissect this movie, I have none other than Anthony the Big Cheese Yee. Welcome aboard, Ant.
It was going to be Anthony Princess Psychic.
Oh,
Yee, but it is now Anthony the Big Cheese Yee. Play your cards right. Oh, that's all I have to say.
Yeah.
You can't laugh. You can't laugh, bro.
I can in pain. So
play your cards.
Yeah, and this is the problem, right? Like so. Okay, we're gonna have to kind of cut. We'll come back to that in just a nanosecond because and I'm not trying to dismiss it. I'm not kind of sweeping it to one side like some people would do. Only because and there'll be a bit of this will lead back into what you're insinuating there, and that's because I need to first just ask where you were when you first watched this movie, and how long ago was that?
I watched this film 1986, the year it came out. The context for this particular film, for me, I remember last time we spoke about Aliens. And that was a big seminal film for us, seminal film for this podcast, because we raved about it, we loved it. And that was recommended to me by my older cousin, who I treated like an older brother, and he loved it, and I loved it. Big Trouble in Little China was brought to my attention by my father.
Oh, seriously?
Seriously, my dad, he lived a little for about 2 months in the States for work. And he basically came back home and then he said, I just saw this really awesome film called Big Trouble in Little China. You guys need to see it. And then he raved about it. He loved it. He thought it was a really cool film. He thought it was really, really awesome. And then he took me and my brother to see it, and because he loved it, I was going to love it, and I do. It's a great film. I love it. So, it was my dad who recommended it, and he raved about it. He loved all sorts of things about it that wasn't immediately obvious to me. He loved that Jack Burton, played by Kurt Russell, was such a clown, and to him wasn't the leading man. Effectively, that Wang is effectively the leading man or the hero in it, which I didn't quite see when I saw it. I was like, no, Wang is still pretty much the sidekick throughout this film. He just that Wang can do cool things, but Kurt Russell's definitely the lead. And even though Kurt Russell's a bit of a clown, he still comes off as the lead to me anyway, as the cool guy and everything else. And then, literally the other big thing my dad took away was that he didn't kiss the girl in the end.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be a big twist, which again, as a kid, I was like, okay, whatever. I mean, I definitely hit puberty at this point, so I get the reason why you want to kiss a girl, but I didn't think it was that big of a deal. But my dad thought that was the funniest thing ever, is that the very end line, which we'll get to, is that he doesn't kiss Kim Cattrall.
No, he doesn't.
But but I vibed off it for completely different reasons, and those reasons are explained by these two words: kung fu.
Yep.
It's a kung fu film. It's a Western kung fu film, and it was the first that I had seen that was purely Hollywood that got the kung fu just right. The martial arts is pretty authentic.
So that's what I was, and I know you have a big leaning towards kung fu, and I guess that's kind of, and we'll talk about that when the big kind of fight scenes and things happen. But for me, I was always really, I think it might have had something to do with the Karate Kid, but I did kind of, I do remember having like this huge kind of thing about kung fu and karate and martial arts. And when I saw this, which I'm pretty sure would have happened after I saw Karate Kid, that just kind of reignited that passion even more so. And when I was rewatching it, like a lot of the stuff is often when I'm watching these films is nostalgia thing, and that does happen with this film. But I also found that it was also that kind of, I was watching it going, damn, the fight scenes are good. And like really impressive in the sense that there's a lot going on, right? Now I know you've posted something, and when we get to that scene, we'll chat about that kind of one.
We're talking half an hour on that scene alone.
But like that's what I was watching when I was watching it again. I was like, yeah, this is really really cool. And I do remember this film being again like a seminal moment in my childhood as well. It was a huge film, and I wanted to be Jack Burton.
He was like, he was cool.
Like, he was so much cool, and like just because the no giving a shit attitude that he gives throughout this is, and Kurt Russell's so good in this role.
He is so good.
Yeah,
Kim Cattrall's really good. I gotta say, we'll get to the reasons why I think she's really good. But she's very good. She's not Samantha to me. She never has been Samantha.
I never
Gracie
watched
Law.
Sex in the City because I can't stand Sarah Jessica Parker. So
that really was quite a long face. Anyway,
it's not even the face; it's her voice. So anyway, that's just a whole different kind of conversation. But yeah, like Kurt Russell and Kim Cattrall, there's a lot of that kind of old school kind of
screwball comedy
stuff going on, and it taps into that. And they both, because Kurt is he's a child actor, right? So he's lived and breathed cinema for a long time by this point.
He is a classic. He's a filmmaker. For him on set, if you're going to direct Kurt Russell on set, you got to know your shit because he can. Chances are, no matter who you are as a director, he'll probably know how to direct a film better than you. And there's many examples in cinema where he's done that.
Tombstone,
the most famous being Tombstone, which is a great film.
Yeah,
maybe fall in love with the Gunfight the OK Corral. I researched after seeing Tombstone. And as all, he directed that film because he's a great storyteller. He's got great instincts because it's in his DNA. He knows how to tell a story.
He does, and that's right. And just on Tombstone, I kind of have been reading a lot of stuff around that semi recently. So I equally just gone, I really need to rewatch that film.
Oh my God, it's such. I mean, Val Kilmer and Michael Biehn, the Johnny Ringo and Doc Holliday. That scene alone is electric.
Just and I know we're here to talk about Big Trouble, but on that, just before we bow out of that little kind of our segue, but originally Doc Holliday was supposed to be played by Willem Dafoe, and he only dropped out because, he was asked not to take part because the film he just did prior to that was Last Temptation of Christ. And it was deemed that he wasn't exactly in the good limelight because of the negative feedback that they had got. And so they didn't want that to damage the film Tombstone. Anyway, so that was a massive aside. So, all right. So look,
another quick aside.
Yeah, quick.
Have you seen the real life photo of Wyatt Earp? He looks like fucking Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell has put on a few pounds. Also, Doc Holliday in real life looks fucking like Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid? The one who played the Tombstone was the other film that came out. Wide Open came out the year after.
Yeah, that's right.
And who played? Oh, fuck! It was Quaid. It was one of the Quaid brothers.
Probably Dennis.
It was Dennis. Yeah, he lost a lot of weight, and he looks just like the real life Doc Holliday.
All right.
Although actually, now you say it, Temptation of Christ guy, he does look like him too, because real life Doc Holliday had tuberculosis because he was really gaunt.
Yeah.
And all that. But I mean, yeah, look, great film. I mean, Val Kilmer was going through that stage of like one great film, one shit film, one great film, one shit film.
Yeah,
and that was the great film.
Oh, that was the big one that that boosted his career. So, like with Kurt Russell, right? So he's already kind of teamed up with Carpenter on a few occasions in the lead up to this one. Obviously, he played
Plissken.
Yeah, and he was in Elvis. In the TV movie. So this is another kind of outing for him. And he also, I think, just quickly looking at the films in between, the other one would probably be Silkwood, to kind of that he was, which was a big film, and the lead up to this one coming out. Following this, he would then go into a bit more kind of comedy with, like, obviously Overboard. And there was a bit more kind of
that film didn't have an impact on his life at all.
No. And Tequila Sunrise and Tango and Cash would quickly follow suit.
Tango and Cash! Oh my God!
So Kim Cattrall was in a lot of kind of like TV stuff, but obviously the big thing for her was being in Porky's, which kind of launched her career in a big way, and then Police Academy came shortly after that. And those were, I mean, there was a couple of other things in there too, but it was only until Big Trouble, which kind of again levied her a bit more before then Mannequin came out the following year. So and at that point she became quite a big player. Yes. So, but as we said, they kind of riff off each other in a massive way. But to come back, and I did say I would come back, but to come back to your comment and the intro, Ang. So we agreed that there's some kind of these great kind of kung fu moments in it, but this film is the other thing that struck me when I rewatched this just recently before the podcast is the Asian stereotypes that are played throughout the film, and more like the Western view of Asian people. And my question was going to be to you is like how much was that? How aware of you were you of that kind of gulf in representation when you first watched it, or was it just like you were sucked into the storyline and it didn't kind of consume you as much?
Yeah, I was a kid, and that was the world, right? I mean, the whole point of the place this particular podcast in context in history. Yeah. If you hear it 10 years from now, which would be interesting to see how the world is if it's still standing. But at the moment, we are in a very woke time, and cancel culture is really massive, and a lot of it, hovers around stereotyping and representation in media and films. It's something that, again, if you're born and raised from another culture in a Western society, this is just your reality, right? So, no Asian guy can be James Bond, no black guy can be James Bond. And that's just the way. It's not even a question. You don't even think about it. So if you're an Asian guy in a movie, martial arts, or you're the funny cook, or you're the funny laundry guy, and that's that. You're never the male lead. You're not the sexual object of desire. That's just the way it is, right?
Yeah.
And I think because I never really aspired to be an actor, that wasn't that big a deal to me. But it's just, for me, the really interesting thing, I think, and the reason my dad vibed off it was that it got certain elements. I didn't feel that. I felt that you come away, it's all about gaze and intent, and it's all about what was the intent behind that joke. So is the joke offensive?
Yeah.
Or is the joke a joke? And I think a lot of it is, I mean, Seth MacFarlane talks about it as being an honest laugh. An honest laugh. So, and that's a bit of a misleading term, but I think what he meant to say by that is if there's no ill intent towards it, if the person who makes the joke doesn't honestly believe that, then it's fine. And usually comes across as a way. If the person's doing it because he's generally trying to be making fun and talk down to you, you can tell the difference. Yeah. I didn't know who John Carpenter was. I didn't know John Carpenter wrote this film. I didn't know or directed it. I didn't know who. All I knew at the time was that I think whoever made this film was probably white because I guess it's Hollywood back in the 80s. So I didn't think it was an Asian director.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking as a kid, whoever did this loves Chinese cinema, and he loves the Chinese culture. I got a sense of like he's trying to. If he wasn't trying to celebrate it or put it front and center, he certainly didn't talk down to it. He didn't think ill of it. I think my honest impression was like, this is really cool and people need to see more of this, whether it be the martial arts or the legends or the mythology. Let's talk about that. So I loved it because at this time, this is a really interesting point in my life and point of media was the evolution of the VHS Betamax videotape.
Yes.
And so this was just starting to come out in the 80s. I think I've mentioned this before in another podcast. My family was the first one on the street to have a VCR recorder. And so when you have a VCR recorder, you also have videotapes. So we got Star Wars before anybody else. We got all these sorts of really cool movies. Very quickly, through my parents and my uncle, there's this whole subculture of Chinese films, Chinese soap operas, and Chinese TV shows. So we would get like a shit ton in our family, and we would just play them, right? Couldn't understand what was going on because my Chinese is terrible.
Yeah.
But what these certain Chinese shows had, direct from Hong Kong, were kung fu and martial arts. And so for quite a few years at this point in my life, I've been introduced to a guy called Jackie Chan, which nobody else in the Western world knew who he was.
Yeah.
And all sorts of other things. And these movies and these TV shows, I mean, you had to understand there's a subculture of Chinese soap operas that were period piece set. So every one of the actors in it can do martial arts, and they're pretty good at it, and they're pretty decent at it. And wire work was something I'd seen for a few years at this point. And so wasn't seeing anything like this in any Hollywood film, TV show. The martial arts are still pretty lame. The exchanges of punches until somebody falls on a table and it breaks. That was it. There was like a set number series of moves. Shoulder throws were really big. Like a shoulder throw, somebody grabbed you from behind, you threw him over your shoulder. That was probably the most martial arty thing you ever did in Western shows. But none of the stuff showed proper martial arts. Even Monkey had been around at this point. Now, you and I are big fans of Monkey. Yeah. Monkey was a Japanese production, and their martial arts was pretty shit. Like, I loved Monkey. Who didn't love Monkey? But I remember telling people at the time, because they think, oh my God, his martial arts is really cool, and the way he spins that stick. I said, not really. He's clearly an actor who's doing some stage stuff, but he's not a martial artist. Because I was trying to tell people, I've seen stuff. I know what TV martial arts looks like, and it looks really, really good, but you guys don't have access to it because I'm getting these Chinese tapes from my family. You guys can't see it. So this was the first film. Like, we're talking about The Matrix. The Matrix seemed to be the one that really introduced, like, we're talking The Matrix. So we're talking, what, 15, 20, 25 years later, right?
Yeah.
For me, The Matrix was the film that introduced people, oh my God, martial arts cinema, Hong Kong cinema. And people, like, where the actors are doing the actual martial arts. That's fucking mind-blowing, right? And I've been around, like, for a quarter of a century. I'm like, no, me and other guys like me, and be like, fucking, this is what Jackie Chan does. You know, and people like him. They get like Miss Hong Kong. He's never done any martial arts before, but she's just retired as Miss Hong Kong. She's going to be in her first movie role as a police detective. She needs to know martial arts, and she needs to be performing martial arts on top of a moving truck. Like, that's what they did. They would fucking give him a crash course and say, you got to look authentic because it's going to be you, no stunt double. So I know I'm going on a bit of a rant here, but this is a big deal for me because it was the first. Yeah, this is the first Hollywood film where I saw martial art kung fu action that was really, really pretty legit. And I was very excited by that because I was trying to show people this is what I've been seeing for years now on these Chinese tapes. And so for me, I was like, this filmmaker gets it. This filmmaker's like, he knows that these guys can look really cool. All we have to do is set the camera and let them do it. And I got the sense that he wasn't. It doesn't, as a film, it doesn't talk down to Chinese people. I didn't feel that anyway. Okay. It didn't make fun of them, and it kind of celebrated them in their way and celebrated the culture through Jack, who's an avatar, right? Jack's the most an avatar.
Yes, that's right.
And Jack, what's he do? He comes in on the truck. He comes in, and the first thing he does when he offloads his truck, he's looking for food, and he's eating these foods, and like he's loving it. He's looking at the humbuls, the steamed buns, and he's just eating them, and he's asking, "What is that?" Like to me, that was the gaze of the auteur behind this film, which is, what is that? This is pretty cool. I want to eat this. Yeah. Okay, let's gamble. Let's go in the back and gamble. He doesn't know what this game that they're playing is. Like, he's getting it. Like, he wants to learn. And he's laughing. Yeah, he's having fun. So to me, Jack was like, this is his life. These guys are cool. I'm happy to hang out with them. And then again, because his mate's in trouble, his wife gets kidnapped. But we are going ahead. But all the decisions Jack as a hero makes, are the heroic decisions, where it's a fundamental thing. But I think some films fall down on this particular fundamental issue, is that the hero needs to make choices that are not in his best interest, but they are morally the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So what does Jack do? Jack helps his friend, his fiance has been kidnapped, and helps him because what does he say? He says, "Son of a bitch must pay." Like,
Yeah.
it was not cool. It was not cool for him, for these guys to do that, and so he did it without question. And that to me is a hero's choice. And so again, I like Jack, because Jack, he's not racist at all. He makes jokes and all that, but he is what I wanted Western eyes to see me as a kid, that my culture is valid and cool. And yeah, he's happy to go along with it. He's happy to go along the ride and help. Yeah, so that in a nutshell. So no, I didn't feel it was really bad. The line I'm making fun of, the whole "pay your cards right." I mean, that guy clearly is for me, I'm pretty sure he was a Hong Kong actor, so he couldn't speak fluent English anyway. But yeah, no. As a film, I thought it always celebrated Chinese culture in particular, or at least as a Western Chinese person that I was, I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, we'll go from there.
Yeah. No, that and I was happy for you to kind of talk at length on that, Ant, because I actually value your opinion, particularly on that subject. That's why I raised it with you, because I was genuinely interested in that take, because so often Western cinema gets it completely wrong. And so I was kind of keen to, as I said, as a kid, I was just kind of, engulfed in the storyline and kind of happy to kind of go along with what I was being fed. And it was only as I rewatched it, I was a bit, I did kind of ask myself, how does that come across? Does it feel a bit of a whitewash or not?
Well, it's still, yeah, like, Jack is still the hero for me, even though my dad said he's not the hero. He knocks himself out, and he does at some point. At one point during a fight, he throws his knife away and he loses it, and Wang kicks ass. And that you can see it from that point of view. But to me, it was always seen through his gaze. He was always the leading man.
I'm just going to pick up. I was going to wait to mention this at the end, but there's a thing that I did want to kind of mention around exactly that, and John Carpenter's view of the character of Jack Burton. And that's that he said he always saw Jack Burton as a sidekick in the film.
That was the thing. My dad picked up on that as well.
Yeah,
I disagree. Yeah.
So Carpenter's view was that. Yeah. So he said that the film was really about the sidekick, which is Burton, Kurt Russell's role, who thinks he is a leading man. But he said the studio didn't get it.
Right.
And they made him write something that would explain the character of Jack Burton a bit more when it came to shooting the film. So that's when Carpenter came up with the prologue scene with Egg Shen talking to the lawyer. With the whole kind of, you leave Jack Burton alone.
Oh, God, can't you leave him alone? Yeah.
Yeah, so that whole bit was just kind of to lift his profile up a little bit. Because like you said, the other character is the one that kicks ass. He's the he's the one that should be the leading guy. Wang Chi, sorry, I couldn't remember his name.
Yeah, Wang.
Played by Dennis Dunn. So but he everything he does, like in the fight scenes at the end in particular, he's just kicking ass. So
completely. But it feels to me too. The thing I got from that was straight away I thought of the Green Hornet, right? So Bruce Lee is the chauffeur, he's the sidekick, but he's the one who does all the martial arts. But to me, he was always the sidekick, Bruce. His character just knows how to handle himself in a fight. So for me, a leading man isn't necessarily the guy who's the best fighter in the group. The leading man's the alpha male who takes charge. He speaks, everybody listens. I didn't get that from Wang at all. Wang is
that's true.
Short. Yeah, he's short. He's manic. He's on a mission, and he does say at several points, "You don't have to join me, but I'm going to do this." But at the same time, it's Jack who's making all the funny one-liners, he's talking the loudest. He seems to be. Yeah, he's like, we're making a decision and it's through him, and he's the one who signs off on the decision. So it just felt energy-wise, he was still the leading man. Just Wang uses him for his help, but it is. Yeah, it's almost like he's waiting for Jack to do something. When he doesn't, that's when Wang steps up and kicks ass.
Yeah.
Almost at several points in this. So it is interesting. To me, a leading man is somebody who's got that alpha male about them. That you if he's the one in the room that speaks, you zero in on that and listen to him. And definitely Kurt Russell has that in spades.
Yeah.
So
100%.
so it is interesting. Yeah. So yeah. But it is a different film because it does do things. Yeah, but again, it didn't. Again, the particular gaze of this film celebrates Wang and his culture and the fact that he can kick ass and everything else. So yeah, it is an interesting film from that point of view as well.
Yeah. All right, so let's start dissecting the plot narrative of the film. And I'm just reading off a synopsis that I've got in front of me. I've realised it's missing a big chunk from the beginning, so I'm just going to quickly talk through that. And obviously, we've got the Egg Chen bit at the beginning of the film, where, as I said, he's talking to the kind of lawyer guy who's trying to get him to explain all the damage. And the lawyer's saying there was a big building that blew up with green, smoke and fire or whatever it was. So Egg Shen is played by Victor Wong as well, who would then come up he would then reappear in another Carpenter film following this called Prince of Darkness. But people may remember his face more from Tremors.
He's Tremors.
Yeah.
He's Tremors. Graboids.
I think like all three of those films, he's brilliant in. Like I love his performances in all three of those films.
He's fantastic.
And he's like the guru kind of, he's the sorcerer essentially is the role that he's playing. Although we don't realize that until a little bit further into the film, because when we meet him as the story unfolds, he's tourist bus driver.
He's a tour guide. Yeah.
So we get all that kind of like intro at the beginning. Then we get kind of, Jack Burton driving around in his truck, and we get the whole kind of, the few kind of lines he says, like, when some wild-eyed, 8-foot-tall manic grabs your neck, taps the back of your favorite head up against the barroom wall, and he looks you crooked in the eye, and he asks you if you paid your dues. You just stare at that big sucker right back in the eye, and you remember what old Jack Burton always says at the time like that. Have you paid your dues, Jack? Yes, sir. The check is in the mail. So...
Does he say that?
Yeah. So I'm
kidding.
So there's there's like 3 instances where he says stuff about that, and I just picked the one I saw in front of me just here.
Yeah.
So we're getting kind of like he's a man of the road, right? And he's often kind of talking into the little.
I was going to CB radio. It's got a CB radio, dude.
Yeah. I nearly said beatbox. That's why I stopped. Like, yo.
He's on a yo. You know what I got from that? That was pre-internet.
Yeah.
Because what he's doing, he's posting stuff on Facebook that people are under the delusion that other people care. I mean, I do it all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what a CB radio was, right? It was you fucking talk shit. And that's what he was doing. He honestly loves the sound of his voice, and he thinks he's himself as some sort of great philosopher. But you also got a sense that he's very comfortable in his own skin. That's what he's doing. Yeah, and that's his life as a truck driver. He likes being alone, happy to talk shit to anybody who cares to listen, and that's it. Boom.
Yeah, and it's great because you get a feel of who he is straight away from these little pockets that occur. And then he turns up in Chinatown, like you said, and this is the bit that you were talking about where he's wandering around, he's eating the food, and he meets up with the Wang Chi character played by Dennis Dunn. They've obviously got a bit of a history, and they kind of banter a lot and, get into kind of gambling kind of things and stuff like that. And that's where we see them playing a game. Do you know what the game is they're playing, by the way, Anne?
It's something. It's the thing No, I don't know it, but I remember there's an episode of How I Met Your Mother where Barney is addicted to a particular Chinese gambling game in casinos in Vegas, and he can't, to the point where he can't be near a table. If he does, he loses all his money, but he can't help it. And the whole point of and again, in fact, it's interesting. Like sitcoms, like Friends, is very much open to cancel culture. There's a lot of things in Friends that are today, in this day and age, pretty problematic. And How I Met Your Mother has a few of these as well. But because there's one where all of them take on Chinese stereotypes. It's kind of long, so I found it kind of funny. But it is one of those things. Maybe I'm so indoctrinated I don't notice when people dress up as Chinese people and do the accents and whatever. But this particular episode, Barney needs to get money very quickly, and he ends up gambling on this table. And it's it's deliberately supposed to be an obscure Chinese gambling game where there's a spinning wheel and you roll dice and you do other things and you stand up and you all change chairs. And the whole gag being that, mahjong to Western eyes doesn't make a lot of sense, and those other similar sort of games. So that's what it, I don't know. Anyway, I thought of that bit in that sitcom as well. I don't know what it is. I think it's something like half dominoes, half mahjong. I don't know.
Yeah, because I'm aware of mahjong and I have played mahjong on numerous occasions, but it didn't look quite like that, so that's why I was asking.
No, it's not. It's some dice thing where they roll the dice. You lift the lid on the bowl, and whatever the dice is, you put money on what you think it is. I don't know.
Yeah. So either way, Jack kind of sweeps, up the table, and he kind of, takes all the winnings, and much to Wan Chi's kind of chagrin, and so he's kind of really annoyed by that, but they, in a friendly kind of banter way, he's still trying to save face. And then it's so much so that he says, all right, double or nothing. I bet you I can chop the top of this bottle off with this knife. And so Jack kind of agrees, but he gives him his bottle that he's drinking and says, sure, but you have to chop the top off the bottle of that one. Yeah. So he lies it down flat on the table, takes a swipe, and it just kind of catapults across the table, and Burton kind of flicks his hand up and grabs it. And Wan Chi kind of just looks at him, and cool as you like, Kurt Russell says that infamous line, it's all in the reflexes.
So this scene, let's break this down. There's so much going on here because straight away, the stranger comes in, wipes you out, right? So in any other movie, particularly when it's backstreet gambling, the person who's doing the wiping out could be in trouble, particularly if he's the outsider, he's a foreigner. Yeah. So there's one way this scene could go where, he can get jumped or whatever because it's got a triad influence. This is me talking about stereotypes now. But there's that sort of element about it. But instead, he takes the money. But Wang does flip. Wang literally slams his machete on the table like a tong. Yeah. If the weapon of choice of Chinese tongs, triads is the machetes or the meat cleavers because they're called tongs. So he slams it. So automatically, straight away, the scene suddenly takes a turn for the sinister, because you don't know who Wang is at this point, and Wang could be a small little gangster, and Burton's trying to play it off as a joke, and then he realizes, okay, he's kind of serious, and then Wang gives him this improbable way out, which is I can split this bottle in half, and Kurt Russell's character is stupid to take the bet, but he does, because I think part of him knows out of self-preservation it might be foolish for him not to. Because he's still a fish out of water. But a part of him also thinks, fuck it, let's do it. Let's see if you can do it. Go on, God bless you, Wang. And then he hits the bottle. And then he does this very clever thing of it's a story within a story. Mm-hmm. The bottle could be fixed. So change bottles. That's very clever. Yeah. And then the third thing is when he hits the bottle and Jack Burton catches it, it establishes very early on he's got phenomenal reflexes. Yeah. Which becomes very important later on. So it's very efficient storytelling. I love stuff that's really layered, that on the surface is really fun, friendly banter. But there's a lot of power shifts in this scene. There's a lot of layers of storytelling in this scene. Semiotics, all of it. It's really, really clever. And so within just a few pages, you've made something really dense straight away. That's kind of got fun energy to it. Yeah. It establishes their relationship. They're friends, but they're not close friends. No. And he won't let Wang out of his sight because he's being still very clever. Because Wang goes, well, what about you follow me home and I'll pay your money back? And again, so he doesn't trust him, which I really like. He's like, I'm not letting you, to the point where he's like, get on my truck, wherever you got to go. Yeah, I'm not following you. You're going to be in my truck. Yeah. And then boom, that's it. He hops in his truck because he's going to pick up his fiancée at the airport. Yeah. Yeah. Which I'm reading off the synopsis, which I've got in front of me, and this is where it picks it up, as in that's the start of the movie. And I'm like, yeah, bullshit. All that stuff that we just talked about has happened. Anyway, yes. So they go to the airport, and as you said, they're there to pick up his fiancée. Yeah. So they, we have the San Francisco airport, and they turn up there to pick up Wang's fiancée. And this is where, at the airport, he also, as in Jack, sees Kim Cattrall's character for the first time. Her name is Gracie Law. And she is a lawyer, isn't she?
So
She's a lawyer, yes.
Yeah, so not
Immigration
much
lawyer.
originality around the surname there. I'm wondering whether you had a part in naming her, and just throwing that out there.
Well, it's like it's spelled Lau, so it's a Chinese Lao law. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, her name's written LAW, so yeah.
Jack Russell's Jack Truck Driver. Jack Truck Driver. Yeah.
Truck driver. Yeah, that'll do. So anyway, so she's at the airport and she catches Burton's eye.
Yes.
And he's distracted. And at the same time, we get a street gang coming in called the Lords of Death.
Lords of Death, yeah.
And they come in and they attempt to kidnap Miao Ying, who is, I didn't mention her name, but she is the fiance. And
yes.
they initially go to, oh no, sorry, I got that. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, they try to kidnap
They try and kidnap another girl first, don't they? But then all of a sudden that shifts.
Yes, because that girl and Gracie Law was there to make sure something like that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're kidnapping a girl for sex trafficking.
Yeah, that's right.
Really fucking serious.
That totally glossed over me as a kid, I have to say.
Yeah, it did to me too.
Yeah.
I just assumed, okay, this is what happens in the real world, all right?
Yeah,
okay.
They end up kidnapping Mao Ying and chuck her in the back of her of a fucking sweet ride car.
It was a Pontiac, wasn't it?
Yeah. And
Burton
and when she kind of give chase and down into like the car park area and nearly get run over.
So again,
they kind of tear off.
All this is so the first thing with the Dragon Lords is like they pull out these weapons. One pulls out a butterfly knife and a telescope stick, and they do this cool martial arts stuff. And one guy sweeps the leg, knocks down Burton. The Mao Ying. The other thing that's established about Mao Ying is that she has green eyes.
Yeah.
So as a kid, I remember thinking she doesn't look very Chinese.
No.
Because the green eyes do make a difference. You're like, oh, she does look really mysterious and different. And today, because the other thing too, I used to watch this a lot on VHS, right?
Yeah,
There's a lot of detail you miss on VHS.
Yeah.
When I saw it recently on YouTube at 4K or whatever it was, you're like, oh my god, those are really bright contact lenses. That's the first thing you think of. And same with Kim Cattrall, because Kim Cattrall's character is supposed to have green eyes, and you're like, oh my god, those are bright contact lenses. Anyway, but yeah, they kidnap him, and then so he kidnaps that girl. They chase after him, and there's and then I'm really noticing interesting stuff about Carpenter's directing style at this point, because it's this scene is so quick, and it has so much energy and really good energy to it.
Yeah.
This is a really interesting shot where it has a quick cutaway of the Dragon Lords, quick cutaway of Mao Ying in the boot, she looks really odd the way she's lying prone in the boot of this car, and then literally as they charge at their car at Jack and Wang and almost run them over. It's just really sharply done. And really well done. Good energy behind it. And it's the line when he gets up and he says, "Son of a bitch must pay."
Yes.
And that's it. They chase after him, and Jack unreservedly says, "I'm going to help you," because it's really because you can't kidnap somebody's fiance fault like that. And that's really, again, straight up I'm thinking, okay, he's cool. Like he's really cool. Like he has a sense of honor, even though he's kind of a mercenary in life. He has a moral code. Like he's not going to let a friend hang in the wind like that. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it definitely is. And like just to kind of go back to what you were saying about the energy that is in this film with Carpenter's direction and stuff. There's something that struck me again when I was rewatching it is like, so when stuff's happening, it's happening thick and fast. And then there's like these great little kind of moments of reprieve before then it just gets crazy again, and every time it gets crazy, it gets crazier than the first time that you were, watching stuff. And I think that's a great testament to the directing of Carpenter in that he just keeps kind of amping that up and with it, because the energy is so heightened, you're just kind of pulled in for the ride. You're just like, oh shit, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next?
Well, that was it. There's a lot of stuff in this film that you have to just go with it. And for me, because and it's just like we're talking, I use this word a lot, semiotics and symbolism. But just because I grew up on a staple of Chinese kung fu action films, I was like, I'm getting this. I'm really getting this. And my thought was, this guy has seen a shit ton of the same tapes I've seen. And he's clearly trying to jam it into a Hollywood film, which I was thinking was really cool. The other thing we talk about heightened energy, and this comes a bit later on, is the dialogue, particularly when Gracie comes in and her energy is so Ingmar Bergman, what's the name? So screwball comedy from back on Cary Grant and
Lauren Bacall.
Lauren Bacall, yeah, and all those guys. I mean,
yeah.
Was it Bergman, the tall one, one from Out of Africa? What was her name?
Meryl Streep.
No.
Meryl Streep was
not Out of Africa. Not Out of Africa. On Golden Pond.
Katharine Hepburn. Is that
Hepburn. That's it. Katharine Hepburn. The way her energy is so that, I mean, you need Richard Lovegrove here because he can do that thing very quick. But that she has that energy when she barges in and she's like on a million different things at once, and she's just, and she doesn't piss you off. She's really cool. She's like, we've got to go to lawyers. Vance, out of the question. What are we going to do? And that's that. The dialogue suddenly has that sort of energy about it, and then I missed a lot of it as a kid.
Yes,
because I didn't get a lot of it, and it was VHS tapes. I couldn't hear a lot of it very clearly. A lot of it I was getting for the first time when I saw it recently on YouTube.
Yeah. What?
But yeah, they chase after them in their truck.
They start pursuing down through Chinatown and end up in the back alleys, don't they? And they eventually kind of go down this very kind of sus where he does a full-on kind of 90-degree kind of turn in this big truck.
He does a handbrake turn in a truck, which is very impressive.
I was just like,
it's like, what the fuck? And I was thinking, this is pre-CGI, so they had to they had to book out a real-life street in Chinatown in San Francisco, I'm guessing. They almost run over Egg Shen. This is the first time I meet Egg Shen.
Yes.
He's doing a Chinese tour of Chinatown in his rusty old bus. He's got this, he literally has a CB, which walkie-talkie device, which is his mouthpiece to talk to the people on the bus.
Yeah.
And he puts an elastic band around it so the button's pressed down. Just little details like that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Really, really cool. And again, and as you say, because the preemptive draft, the final cut has that pre-scene at the beginning where he's talking to the lawyer, leave Jack Burton alone. And at the end of that scene, to prove that Chinese magic is real, he ends up doing a bit of magic in front of this guy where he ends up showing lightning bolts between his fingers. So in the movie, he's a wizard. He's very powerful. And he's playing this screwball guy who's like, he's kind of like being a bit, not ditzy, but he's kind of like, he's kind of a comedy figure. Yeah. As he almost gets run off the road by Jack's four-wheel drive. So in the original script, that was your first meeting of this guy. So in the original script, you're supposed to think he's kind of a clown or kind of a comedy relief type character. But in this version of the film that we see, we automatically know he's not. He's actually quite a powerful wizard playing a bit of a clown. So that's really interesting. I find that is interesting that Carpenter had to make that decision in post of like adding this extra scene at the beginning. And you think, it's a harmless little scene just to get the filmmaker or the studio execs off your back. Yeah. But it has a domino effect. We watch movies left to right. We watch movies scene one before scene two, then scene three, scene four. Everything you do, every decision you do has a domino effect onwards. Yeah. And I know there's a scene in Firefly where Joss Whedon had to do this insert in the movie Serenity, because he had this really tough thing of like, okay, I've got to make a film that the Firefly audiences who watch the TV series know all about it, but I have to write this film to a new audience who doesn't know what the fuck Firefly is all about. And the way he wrote the movie, it's about this. The original thing is about the girl Summer, and the opening prologue scene is about her, and then basically you find out a little bit about her, and then it goes to her life on the ship, and then Mal, played by Nathan Fillion, is the captain of the ship, and then it's all about him and the crew, and they have their adventure. And when he did the movie and he screened it, there was something off about the whole rhythm of the film. And then what he realized afterwards was that people who didn't know the story of Firefly thought the film was going to be about the girl. Yeah. And then after about 15 minutes, it becomes about this guy. And so they don't know who they're supposed to be following. We're going to talk about gaze, the gaze of the film, and who's your avatar in, who's your portal, who's the eyes of the film that you're supposed to be taking. And that was the problem. He said he needed to write a scene where she literally hands the film off to Nathan Fillion's character, as if to say, the film is yours from here on in. And there's this really odd, obscure thing, but before they're about to do their heist, you have to see the film if you haven't seen it. He's loading his gun, and she comes in the scene, and he just says 2 lines to her saying, hey, we're about to rob this place. Do you know what you're doing? And she goes, to you? And she walks off. And that's an insert that they did literally towards the end of the film, to literally metaphorically, for her to hand the film over to him. and say, okay, to the audience, the film's about him now. Just follow his gaze.
Yep.
So that's interesting. So yeah, for me, yeah, as a filmmaker, you got to make these decisions that change the whole energy and balance of the film. And so Egg Shen, this is our first introduction to Egg Shen, but suddenly, so for months and months, he's working to that vibe about it.
Yeah.
And now it's no longer, he's blown the big reveal about Egg Shen being a legitimate wizard.
Yes.
He's blown out the right at the very beginning. So straight away, I have no doubt that would have affected how he wrote and edited the subsequent scenes with Lopan or Egg Shen. Lopan's the bad guy, sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just find that, sorry, I went off on a side tangent, but I find that was really interesting.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. So anyway, so we're in the Chinatown kind of back alleys, and as you said, there's a moment where we see Egg Shen and his bus is kind of swiped to one side, as then Jack takes the truck down this very kind of small alleyway, and this is when they stop and they kind of feel like they've lost the kind of group that had stolen Mao Ying,
His fiance, yep.
And this is when all of a sudden another group of kind of street gang kind of turns up. I want to say
the Fighting Tongs,
the Changxing, yeah,
Changxing, the Chen Shen, the Fighting Tongs. They're a gang, they're a street gang.
Yeah,
but they're good. But they're good guys, Jack. Which I'm like, and it's only now as an adult. Like, what do you mean good guys? Because they're technically triaded, right? They're basically triad. They're a gang. They're a gang. They have fucking weapons. So
it's because they team up with them later on, though. That's the thing, right?
And they wear yellow turbans.
Yeah, not red. So
not red. Red is bad. Red is evil. It's a bit like it is. Hans, I just checked out caps. They have skulls on them. Are we the bad guys? But yeah, his truck is in this narrow alleyway, which again, looking at it with adult eyes, I'm like, oh my God, that looks like such a set. But it's got water.
It does
on the
look
floor,
like a set, you're right.
It looks like a set. But yeah, this funeral's coming the other way.
Yeah.
And they're all dressed in white. And then behind the truck come these guys in red turbans.
Yes.
The Wing Kong.
Wing Kong, yes, right. And then like this massive standoff happens.
Yes.
And then we get full-on kind of fight scene that envelops.
It's freaking awesome.
Between these two.
Like, one of the bad Wing Kong guys is a bald dude who's got a bandolier of bullets and 2 6-shooters, pearl-handled 6-shooters. I'm like, it's fucking awesome. It's like, what the hell is this guy? Who the hell is he? But you don't care. Like, he doesn't care. Like, he's like, this is what he looks like. This is what he is. Deal with it. And you do. Like, he's just, And so they pull guns on this funeral, and the bad guys shoot the good guys.
Yeah.
And I find this, I've seen this in other movies too, where like gangs get into fights, and then one gang member from one is killed, and during the funeral, the other gang members will jump the funeral and shoot the coffin.
Yeah.
Which I'm thinking, that's really disrespectful. That is really, and I've seen it in other movies with other different ethnic gangs from whatever. But yeah, they shoot this guy's coffin to pieces, which I think is pretty full on.
Yeah. And
then the good guys return fire, shoot the bad guys. So there's bullets flying around. Not one bullet touches the truck. It's a massive target. Not one bullet scratches it. So
they're good shots. They're good shots.
Very good shots.
Yeah.
They're very good shots. And then after the gunfight comes the fight scene. So it's a bit like, okay, this is the entree. The entree is bullets. But we got to go to the main course now, which is kung fu, which is what you want to see, right?
Yeah,
fucking kung fu. Because the handles of the coffin, when the good guys telescope out into monkey staffs, which is really cool. And then as a kid, I remember seeing these guys literally start to line up, and they literally take kung fu poses. I'm thinking, and as a kid, I got so excited. I'm like, are they going to do kung fu fighting? That's fucking awesome. And that's what happens. They charge each other, and they just have a full-on kung fu battle.
Full-on massive fight. And it's great.
Some legit moves, Some legit moves, some Wing Chun in there. That's the one I do. Lots of, just really classic Tiger Kung Fu. Yeah. And then it goes for quite a bit. And then there's quite a while. There's really cool inserts. And then there's one wide shot of the battle.
Yeah.
And I've brought this up in another podcast. As a kid, I saw it straight away, and I can't believe that you haven't seen it, but some other people haven't seen it. But there's a big wide shot of the battle, and in the back, there's one of the good guys who's wearing all white. He's got a 2x4 in his hand, and he's waving about. Saul's going to have to describe what I'm doing, but he's waving about because he has clearly no kung fu training whatsoever, and he's waving about like a little and he's and he just goes, look at me, and so it is one of the things I'm sure as they're doing the battle, the first AD goes, okay, who can fight? And these guys put their hands up. Okay, you guys at the front, who can't fight? And this guy puts his hand up. He goes, okay, you go to the back. But because he's wearing all white, he sticks out the sore thumb. I can't believe you can't see him. I see him every time I see that shot. He's just running around waving this 2x4 as if it's nothing. And it's very, very reminiscent to Ted. No, not Ted. A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Yes.
With Seth MacFarlane and Gio Ribisi are in the back. There's a barroom brawl happens. Yeah, and they pretend they're fighting in the background, going, don't bother us. We got our own thing going over here. It's okay. It's a bit like that. So that's the one thing. The kung fu scene is really great, but the one takeout I get is that one guy. And Saul will post a picture of what I'm talking about.
I will definitely do that. And but did that kind of completely take you out of the scene though when that happened?
It did. Yeah. It did. As a kid, it reminded me that this is a movie. Despite the fact that there's one really cool shot where, I mean, one guy locks another guy's elbow and breaks it, which is really cool. At that time, you didn't really see that sort of stuff. Another guy does a roundhouse kick, an inside roundhouse kick to another guy. He misses, and he kicks a window. And this other guy throws him through the window, and it's really cool. And the good guys do this finger point symbol thing where they put their hand up with the index finger pointing up. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's that classic thing of, and this is a bugbear of mine of all big battle scenes, whether it be from like Game of Thrones or martial arts scenes, that people have time to do stuff like wave at each other or have dialogue. Where I don't know how many big battles you've been a part of. I mean, you and I have been a part of
loads.
But you don't have time to talk. You don't have to.
Every so often I will signal to my fellow colleagues though mid battle.
You will. Yeah. But last time you did that, you got fucking tackled bad.
Yeah, right? That's right. That was my bad. I was showboating. I must admit.
Full on fight.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for Miles Davies and Ben Skinner, you'd be dead because those guys were like, you fucking what? And they jumped that guy that jumped you.
That's it. I wouldn't be here today. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't be here today. Let's put it that way. It was crazy times. So anyway, look, so we're looking at the movie and all this cool stuff starts happening. And this is then when we suddenly get these other characters enter the scene. And they kind of come in incredibly mystical kind of fashion, lots of kind of special effects and stuff. This trio are called the Three Storms, named Thunder, Rain, and Lightning. And all represent the powers that you would imagine that are symbolized through those three elements. Yeah. And
so Thunder's a big dude.
Yeah.
Lightning's the coolest one of the lot.
Yeah, but he does the least. Do you know what I mean?
Like, he's cool, man. He's got the laser bolt thing.
I completely agree with you. And I had this thing where I loved that dude, and he was always the best, right? But every time I watched it after watching the first time round, he's given the least to do. And you're just like, champion this dude. He's got fucking lightning bolts. Come on.
It's also ridiculously easy to kill. Which we will come for the mortal being. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And
they all are in a little way. They're all a bit easy pickings by the end of it, but there you go.
Yeah. And what's the third one? Thunder, lightning, and
rain.
Rain. Without fail, because I saw it recently with my wife because she'd never seen it before.
Get out.
Yeah, because each one lands and they do some kung fu moves and you see a close up of their face and you see Rain's close up his face. Everybody laughs because he's got this chin strap thing that squishes his mouth and his lips are really and it's just he looks ridiculous. He doesn't look tough at all. He just looks silly. So that's the other.
Yeah, but he has killer hair.
He has killer hair and he's got these claw things.
Which are back scratches. The back scratches. You go, look. I'll meet you in the shower, darling. So he's so we meet that's why he's called Rain. And so we meet these guys with supernatural powers, and they basically kind of completely wipe out the Changxing crew, or most of them.
Most of them.
And then at this point, Jack and Wang try to escape, but in doing so, they end up running over the Wing Kong's leader, who happens to be this guy called Lo Pan,
Lo
played
Pan.
by James Hong, who's
the
fucking
guy
awesome
who never
as well.
dies.
Yeah,
the guy who never ages because he's just born perennially old or permanently old.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
He's at the time of doing this, he's still alive, isn't he? Or did he pass away?
I don't know. I don't want to hold. I don't want to hold to that. I just know the guy was a legend.
Alive.
Get out.
He's fucking still. He's 90. He's 91.
Wow.
And he looks just like he did.
The guy's a legend, anyway. Like,
guy's an absolute legend. Absolute.
So like he gets run over, and obviously Jack thinks he's dead, and he comes out of the truck, but he just comes around the back, goes hello, and then this is where he does the whole kind of thing, and the eyes and the mouth kind of suddenly ejects this powerful light source, blinding Jack, and so Wang has to grab him and kind of lead him down a dark alley. At which they stop at a puddle, and he splashes his eyes with water, and everything's all right again.
It's fine, mate.
And so, but they're still not out the woodhouse yet, so they kind of have to get themselves out of there and away by kind of crawling through the basement of some kind of sewer thing.
They get chased by the Dragon Lords because the Dragon Lords find them. They know who Wang is, so they go running through this sort of abandoned warehouse rooms, go crawling through a sewer, and they escape that way. And then they go to Wang's family house to see his dad or his uncle. And Jack's changed clothes, and he's trying to.
The Dragon of the Black Pool is the name of the restaurant,
the place.
And so that's happening too. And the reason why they have to go on foot, by the way, is because Jack's truck has been stolen.
Yes,
as well.
And he's trying to claim it. He's trying to claim the insurance over the phone. This is when Gracie Law comes in.
Yep.
And Eddie, his cousin, Wang's cousin, comes in. Who's a lawyer or real estate agent, agent or something like that.
It's hard to know.
Yeah, and it's really interesting scene too of Jack, because he's Wang's father / uncle. This is really bad. Is sitting there, and then Jack Burton talks about Lo Pan, and the father / uncle freaks out to the son, going, "You didn't tell me Lo Pan was going to be there."
Yeah,
as in like the 12-foot version of like Lo Pan is 7 foot. It depends on which version you see, but the magical version of him is 7 foot.
Yeah, and
so he kind of freaks out, going, "That's really bad," and Wang's sort of going, "Oh God," the oldie's going off about it. And Gracie Law comes in, does the whole Katharine Hepburn type thing, just talks a million miles an hour.
Yes,
reveals that she was at the airport to pick up her friend, so she doesn't get kidnapped. And by accident, they kidnapped Wang's fiance instead.
Yeah,
and so they formulate a plan because she's been kidnapped. And Eddie's the one that tells them, "Oh yeah, your fiance's been kidnapped and held in a brothel called the White Lotus or something." And he's kind of casual about it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's just a brothel down the road, you know?
Yeah. So some guy's probably, what the fuck? So Wayne's like, okay, I'm going to get it back. Again, Jack being the hero. Well, Jack, to me, he's like, he does what's right. He's like, I'm going to help you.
Yeah, that's right.
And Gracie goes in and says, I'll help you too. And Eddie even goes, okay, well, I'll go along as well. And so that night they visit the brothel. They figured the best person to enter is the Chinese guys can't enter. Gracie can't enter because I know who she is, because she's obviously been trying to bust them for ages or expose them. And so I decided to send Jack dressed as a nerd, an out of town salesman type guy to basically hire a prostitute for the night. And this scene, again, the way this is cut and he's acting is like, he's really funny. He puts on he puts on this dorky voice and goes, "Hello, ma'am. I'm here to have fun." He's good. He looks really good. Like he pastes his hair, combs it the wrong way. He looks like he's got this real dork energy about him. I don't know, like Harrison Ford tried to sort of do that in The Last Crusade, where he walks into this castle trying to put on a Scottish accent. But no, Kurt Russell, he's got comedic chops. He does. So this is the guy who a few years before was Snake Plissken, right?
Yeah,
that's tough as it gets. But yeah, he's a tremendous storyteller. He's a good actor. But yeah, he goes in and he's like, "Well, the person I'd really like to see is a woman with green eyes." Ha ha ha. Yeah. So automatically that makes everybody there really suspicious. Gracie sees a friend across the road who's a investigative journalist. And this we meet our other character, Margot.
Margot, that's right.
Okay. He's trying to get a story into, because he's trying to blow the lid on the sort of sex trafficking culture that's going on here in Chinatown. And Margot's there to try and learn more about it. So basically at this point, that's when the three storms come in and kidnap, bust open the brothel. Because they said that's what the Dragon Lords were only there by happen chance. The Dragon Lords, they just wanted to kidnap a girl, as you do. And it's just by pure dumbass luck they got Mao Ying. But yeah, the three storms bust into the brothel, blow open the roof, kidnap Mao Ying because she's a girl with green eyes, which is part of a prophecy they need to learn about later.
Yeah, that's right. But there's this great moment just as they're doing that where Jack grabs the guy, one of the storm's hats, lifts it up,
hats up,
full on punch in the face, and the guy just kind of looks back at him and he just does this nod to him before he just gets thrown across the room. It's one of my favourite moments in the film. I love it.
There's a scene in Tango and Cash where he busts open some sort of triad guy who knows karate and tries to kick him and he does all these spin kicks and he ducks and then he just punches him out and then he goes, God, I hate you karate guys. And I just realized that's what that was from because he got his ass kicked in this movie. Yeah, that's probably what that's from.
That's cool. So Mao Ying gets taken away and
in the air. They literally fly through the air.
They fly through the air. That's right.
Yeah. And, so at this point, Jack's now realizing what the fuck has he got himself into? Because a lot of it's kind of.
That's right. And so they end up back in Grace's apartment now. And this is where they find that Miao Ying was taken to a place that's called the Wing Kong Exchange, which is a front for Lo Pan's domain. And with Wang's assistance, Jack decided to kind of come up with a plan to infiltrate it. And there's that whole line where you can't just sail in and out of there like the wind or whatever it was, blowing out like the wind.
My mind and my spirit are going north and south.
Yeah. So
they
come
go
up with this idea.
To be telephone repairman.
Yeah. And there's this whole thing where like they kind of go into the front entrance and they're like, and they bluff their way in. Essentially, they have the bravado to just go, oh, we're here, blah blah blah, and he just like Jack Burton just kind of storms straight through and just guesses the way through, and they end up in some kind of somewhere warehouse, like all of a sudden like a warehouse at the back. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that's when they start to try and work out how to get down.
Yeah, and they're being filmed, they're being monitored. They find a secret doorway, which is a secret elevator. They go in the secret elevator. It stops halfway down, and they realize, they've been busted. Which, again, if you look back on it, it's like, how the fuck can you not be busted? They've been filming you. You just blagged your way in. Of course they're gonna, and you know it's filled with bad guys. Of course they're gonna through you. Which is what they do. They put them in an elevator that fills with seawater, which is gonna drown them. But they didn't count on the fact that Jack and Wang would open the elevator door. That's how they fucking get out. It was like, okay. It's a foolproof trap plan where they're going to die. Can they open the door?
Wait, so those doors don't seal by themselves? Like,
open the fucking door.
It's all right because, where they go out, that's where all the other people died. So there's all those dead bodies. Yeah. So they'll just die in there.
There are dead bodies in there. That's kind of creepy. These decomposing bodies underwater, which they go up. And he says, and Jack goes, "What is this?" And he goes, "This is the hell of the up down sinners or some shit."
The hell of the upside down sinners.
Something like. Because he says at some point all Chinese magic is what all parents tell their children, and it's real, but we just ignore it. And again, as a kid, I was like, no, my parents never told me anything about Chinese magic, about all ghosts being real. I kind of wish they did, because that means they'll probably know Kung Fu, which would be fucking cool. Would you like to find out that Wang does know Kung Fu?
Yeah, he does, but not this stage.
He's really good at it.
But they end up getting taken by Rain, the character Rain, and then taken off into some kind of holding cell, but they're tied down in these wheelchairs. Wheelchairs. Yeah.
And Rain beats the shit out of Burton with Nerf balls.
Yeah, he does.
It's really fucking weird. He holds up these squeezy Nerf balls and he levitates them and he blows them at
Jack's
Burton as if they're what do you call those? They use them as riot control shotguns with beanbag shotguns like that.
Rubber bullets.
Really hard.
Yeah,
rubber bullets. Yeah.
So they're tied to the chair, these wheelchairs, and this is where all of a sudden this kind of crippled old man comes out, who is Lo Pan in his true form,
physical form.
His physical true form. Yeah, and he claims that Mao Ying is safe with her, and that He
Safer
has
with him.
intent, safer with him than any creature on this earth. That's right. And
Yeah,
after
and he
telling
wants to know
them
about her
obviously-
background.
yeah,
Yeah, because of the green eyes. Is she the daughter of a holy man? She must be in that sort of deal.
that's right. And this is where then Lopan at the same time catches hold of Gracie, Eddie, and the journalist friend Margot entering the building.
Yes.
And he sees them on a monitor. So he sends
That's like because
Thunder up to deal with him.
Yeah, she tries to blag her way in, and he goes, "Perhaps I can help." Sorry, I'm doing the. But yeah, he literally takes him in a elevator, and this is the interesting shot. This is the only shot in the entire movie when he takes him in the elevator that's handheld.
Oh right.
So
yeah.
it suddenly gives this really interesting documentary feel as he closes the elevator doors. I don't know why he did that. But it suddenly gave the film a different energy for that one shot because it's handheld. And handheld wasn't popular back in the 80s because I just discovered Steadicam shots and stuff like that, so they could really get the camera to move smoothly.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting. And then he's in the elevator and he's talking Chinese, Eddie's translating, and then they all get gassed.
Yes.
And it's really again, Kim Cattrall does this nice thing when she goes, "Are we going up or are we going down?" And it feels like down, and then she faints.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I thought it was really funny the way she did. I thought.
No, it's good. It's a great moment. Acting. Yeah. And the reason that Thunder is able to withstand the gas is because he's Thunder. He's made of gas, man.
Yes, he's immortal. Yes.
And he just walks out and goes, "Yeah, don't know what happened here."
Yeah, weird.
It must have been the curry he had last night. So they kidnap those three too, and then and Wang and Jack in the meantime are taken back to the cell, still in their wheelchairs. And this is when Wang tells Jack about this 2,000-year-old legend of Lo Pan, as it gives the backstory of who this guy is, and that he was cursed to roam the earth in a ghost-like form until he can marry a special kind of girl, obviously the girl with green eyes. So they have all that kind of back history kind of chat, and then they manage to break free from the wheelchairs, but they hear Thunder returning, so they sneak back into the wheelchairs again, putting it, and only just remembering to put the blindfolds back.
It's a good scene.
And then Thunder then comes back in, and he has Eddie with him, and he hangs Eddie up by the collar of his jacket onto the back. At this point, Jack jumps onto Thunder, but he just manages to push Jack off and him into his wheelchair, sending him back down the ramp. Oh no, there's a bit of exchange before that first. There's a bit of a scuffle first, but then Jack manages to get back on him, and then he starts to kind of expand himself, as in Thunder
he's going to explode, and Eddie and Wang go, "Come on, Jack, can I just run out?" And
he's
Jack
like, "How?
I can't leave him." And literally, he throws him off. Jack lands in a wheelchair. The wheelchair goes skidding backwards down the ramp. The two, Eddie and Wang just look and go, going, "Okay, well, he's out of the room now."
So they shut the door.
Shut the door. And then he does this thing where he hits this well where that goes like 1,000 feet deep or whatever.
Yeah.
And he ends up literally grabbing the wheelchair and locking it and coming out of the wheelchair before it falls down.
Yeah.
And then as he goes down backwards, he knocks out two guards, and there's a bowling ball strike sound effect as he knocks it. So it's a little screwball, doing. But when they all get together, the three of them, they all have guns. One has a shotgun, a pistol, and a machine pistol.
Oh, I love, and they switch the guns around.
And Jack goes, "I'll swap you." And they do this real screwball comedy thing where they all swap guns in the wide shot, and it has a real Jackie Chan energy to it as well. Jackie Chan does a lot of that sort of thing. And again, to me, it was like, this film gets it. This film gets martial arts energy. Like it's the physical comedy energy of Hong Kong cinema, which borrowed a lot. If you're talking Hong Kong cinema, I'm talking Jackie Chan in the sense that Jackie borrowed a lot from Charlie Chaplin and all that, the early Hollywood stuff where he's doing all the action himself in a wide shot, so you see it on camera, and it's got that sort of energy to it. It's funny. It's cool. But now they're on the loose with guns. And there's they're trying to get their way out, and they're set around the corner. Jack looks around the corner, it's all clear. He turns around, and Wang comes out first, and there's a bad guy, one of the bad guys from the Wing Kong bad guys in the street fight. And then literally this guy throws a few punches at Wang, and Wang fucking kicks ass and kicks the shit out of this guy. And then another guy comes in, and Wang kicks the shit out of this guy as well. And you're like, oh, okay. So he does know martial arts. He's been keeping that up his sleeve the whole time. Incidentally, do you know what style of kung fu he knows?
No, I have no idea, man.
It's Crane style.
Ah.
And you know what is the signature move of the Crane style is multiple punches, very quickly, like the beating of the wing.
Okay.
At one point he kidney punches this guy, and that's what. And then he tells basically Eddie and Jack, who've both got guns on this guy, to shoot him. And Jack doesn't know how to shoot the gun because it's got its safety on.
Yeah.
And so Wayne goes fuck, and so Wayne just kidney punches this guy like 10 times real quickly, and that's Crane style. Crane style's like beating the wings of a crane.
Yeah.
So he's like boom, 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 and the way he holds his hands up is like a crane. So I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then literally, at one point, some guy shoots a gun at Wang, who does somersaults through the air because everybody knows the best way to dodge bullets is to do a somersault in the air. And this is pre-Matrix, by the way. So it wasn't fun. And then Jack, at this point, gets the safety off his machine pistol and kills the guy, shoots him dead. And then Eddie goes, first time you wasted a guy, and Jack's like, no, of course not. And of course, obviously it is. And again, 80s action film. Yeah, just killed a guy. Yeah, it's okay.
That's right. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
But they do make their way up, and at this point they have a jailbreak scene as well, where they then get to the girls and they kind of bust them out as well. And there's a load of like female martial artists in this point as well that come out.
This is really interesting. So they do this thing where they decide that Wang's going to hold Eddie as a hostage, as a distraction, as he goes across this bridge towards these female guards to try and get them to come out. Jack is sort of sneaking his way on the bridge by going hand. He's sort of climbing underneath this bridge using his hand, using his hands. He's climbing underneath the bridge so they can't see him, so he can break in. But at one point, both Eddie and Wang then pull guns on these two female guards.
Yes.
And this female guard just uses a pole and disarms them really quickly, and they start kicking the shit out of them.
Yeah.
But Eddie knows kung fu as well.
Everybody knows kung fu.
If you're Chinese, you know martial arts. Again, so to me, I'm like, as a kid, like it's complete bullshit. Like, we don't know about Chinese mythology. We don't know about Chinese demons as Asian Chinese people growing up in the Western country. And we don't know martial arts. But this film presented a mythos that we all do, and that's why as a kid I kind of liked it because it suddenly made my culture really cool, right? so here's Eddie, this fucking real estate agent with a tie. He does know how to kick. He knows how to punch a girl, right?
Yeah.
So he does know martial arts,
right?
And you kind of get a sense of like he hasn't done it in a while. It's just one of those things where he knows it because he like piano lessons as an Asian kid.
He just kicks in.
So it's a bit like he just kicks in. So he does it, and he's not really a key martial art. He's just martial artist. He just knows how to do it, and he does. He knocks out one of the girls, and Wang knocks out the other girl. And Jack at this point, Margot's and Gracie are captured. Margot's doing a journal entry.
Yeah.
She knows, and she can tell she's like, all has gone dark. So she's thinking, "Fuck, this is full surprise ring stuff."
Yeah.
And Gracie's tied up because she's obviously kicked up a bit of a stink, and the only way they could shut her up is to gag her and tie her up like a hog. And so Jack comes in and rescues them all and spins them out, and they all get serving out. So they're all being reunited. They have like a dozen girls who are going to be sold off, as sex slaves, and they're all trying to make it out together.
Bust them out as well, and there's this whole bit where they kind of make their way out and into where they originally began. And so Jack does this whole bit where he goes, "Okay, we're back where we started. Just behind this door, it's just it's the reception, so everything will be just as like normal. So it won't be like what we've had before." And he has this moment where he opens the door, and there's all the
bad guys in there. It's the stormtrooper. It's the stormtrooper in the Death Star moment. And he slams the door and goes, "We may be trapped."
Yeah, it's great.
We may be trapped. It's funny. It works. It's visual comedy.
It works as well because he's somebody who just makes stuff up as he goes along, right? So he's very good at kind of going, all right, well that didn't work. We're going to do this, right? So and he never loses face, despite these kind of things that are going wrong around him. But again, to me, he's the hero. He's the one. He was telling everybody, "This is what we're going to do," and Wang's translating. So to me, Wang is coming off as a sidekick here. Yeah.
He's the hero. This is what we're going to do. Shit, we fucked up. Okay, so to me, he's got the real Harrison Ford energy of like, when he plays Indiana, he doesn't get it right all the time either. Right. He just makes it up as he goes along.
But sorry, go on. So they have this big kind of fight scene anyway that kind of happens again, but they are managed to get out of the front. Well, they get to the proper front door at this point, and they then kind of.
Well, actually before that, they actually had to dive underwater, didn't they? Yes, that's what happened. They literally, there's one point where they go. They
That's how they get out. I was trying to remember how they got out that bit. That's right.
Yeah,
and they end up in the sewers at one point, don't they?
Yeah,
and there's this funny bit where Kim Cattrall's character, where's Jack, and all that stuff.
Where's Eddie? And again, it's funny. It's banter. He's got a knife in his mouth, which you look closely, it's clearly rubber, because putting a fucking sharp knife in your mouth in such a close environment is a good way to cut your mouth. But yeah, they have this moment where he's like, "Can you please not, sit so close to me? You're rubbing up against me. It's making it hard to concentrate." So again, post Me Too movement.
A little bit creepy.
But they swim. They get out into this bit.
They get to that front bit just before the front entrance. Yeah.
And then what happens is when he closes the door and there's bad guys, the bad guys are hacking through it with a machete. Wang tells everybody to run, and then Jack actually tells Wang to run, saying they only saw me, which is not true. But Wang says, "No, we're going to fight together," which is cool. These two, they're in this together. They're going to fight together. The bad guys burst in, and Burton pulls out his knife, and he pulls out his knife out. He has a knife in his hand.
He drops the knife.
And he pulls it out and he throws it away by accident. He goes, "Fuck," and he chases after it. And Wang just kicks all their asses. So no, Wang's not only a martial artist, he's actually a great one, because these Tong guys are professional fighters. And Wang kicks all their, he beats them all, right? Beats them all unconscious. By the time Burton gets his knife again, he's like, "Oh, okay, it's over." And I think to me, this is what Carpenter was saying, that Wang's the hero and Burton's the sidekick. But again, it didn't come across like that to me at all. It means that Burton, to me, is the lead character. His sidekick just knows how to fight. So anyway, it's a funny scene.
It's cool. So go on.
It just made me think about who's Wang and why does Wang know how to fight so well? Again,
who is that guy?
It's interesting. But that's how they want to burst out now. They decided to actually get to the front, and they're gonna. So they know that they're fun to get to the front entrance, and so they kind of manage to kind of shepherd these guys out. Where Burton leaves, he pulls the gun on the security guys at the front. Egg Shen is waiting in the bus out the front as well, so that the girls and him can just all pile in with Eddie and Wang. But just as and so Kim's got I keep calling her Kim. Gracie's taking up the back. And just as she's going, she sees these weird eyes looking at her through this kind of statue thing. And at which point it opens up, and this big kind of hairy hand kind of comes out and pulls her into it. So she gets kidnapped. Yes. So
they don't realize until they're all out. Yeah, and safe.
The first thing that occurred to me after seeing it recently is that Egg Sheng parked his huge bus outside this business's car park. Surely at some point they would have said, "Can you please move your bus?" Because it has no business being there. But no, he's been there all night. He's fine. Another thing too is when they all piled in the bus, the security guards came out and fucking plugged it with bullet holes with machine guns. Which would have killed everybody inside that fucking thing. So there's this big misconception, thanks to Hollywood movies, that a car door will stop a bullet. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Particularly modern day cars, which are made up of cheap steel, they would have been killed. So that was the other thing. They escape, and they realize that Mao Ling is still inside, and Gracie's gone as well.
Yeah, that's it. So both the love interests are no longer with them. So at this point, we then see Lo Pan kind of meeting both Gracie and Mao Ying, and there's this kind of ritual where they are hypnotized, and they hold what's called the burning blade, which are these two swords, and they then are elevated up to the roof, and there's this kind of lamp, and they
start
and they touch it and go, "Oh,
touch my lamp."
It's a bit plastic.
Last time last time Eva said, "Touch my lamp," you got held up in front of HR.
There you go. No, my lamp.
The interesting thing about here's the thing about Chinese martial arts and culture and stuff like that. There's various different Chinese martial arts weapons, right? There's the spear, pole, knife. They call it knife. It's a broadsword. It's a curved sword. The straight sword, which is what these two girls hold, is associated with royalty.
There you go.
Straight sword is a symbol of height. So to use it as a weapon, it's fine. Against a big fucking clashing broadsword, it's not very effective. But the straight sword, if it's an elegant weapon, and if you use it, you're supposed to be set in high class, it's supposed to be like it's the refined version of a martial art to be able to use it, and why it's associated with royalty and so on and so forth. So that's what the sort of those two girls hold. That fucked them up.
Exactly. So that kind of makes sense that they would hold that weapon then with the legend that comes with, or the myth that comes with this Lao Peng character, and that he decides when they survive touching his lamp, that he will marry them. But he does say that he will sacrifice Gracie. And live out his earthly pleasures with Mao.
Because of the two, who's hotter?
Cool. So anyway, so we get this point where he's declared that he will kill Gracie and live out his life with Mao Ying once he becomes mortal. At this point, then obviously Wang and Jack aren't going to give up too lightly. So they go and see Egg Shen, and with his help, or with the help of the Chang Sings, they decide to infiltrate once more. And this is where Egg Shen goes, yeah, I've got this secret way, right? You just go in these tunnels and go down this pole, and we go in these caverns, and then we'll come up in his lair.
That just happened to be underneath his fucking house.
Yeah, like, what? Okay, what? And you didn't tell us before? You're happy with us just hanging out in your bus? Anyway, so this is the plan. So this is coming up to a climax. So they're going to kind of infiltrate this place. And so this is where they go into these cavern, and which then, as I said, comes out into Lo Pang's offices. And when they get there, Egg gives them all this potion, which will make them feel like they are invincible. And
so there's so much going on here. It's so great. I mean, it was one of those, I didn't know. I had no idea how much this film meant to people until about 10, 15 years later.
Yeah.
When I was talking with a good friend of mine, Paul Singh, if Paul, you're out there, we both went to film school together, and then it just came up as a subject, this film, and then the quotes started flying. A lot of them from Egg.
Yes.
Like, what's in the bag, Egg? 6 demon bag. A 6 demon bag. Okay. And like, how'd you get up there? It wasn't easy. And like, what is in that potion? Yeah, it's a potion. Does it make us strong? Yes. Okay. Like all of it. Like, he will not come out. He will not come out again. What won't come out again? So there's also, it's just, Egg is really cool, and he's telling him.
He's a great character. He's a great character.
Basically, he's a wizard.
Yeah, and there's this bit where it's just great where he kind of says you'll feel invincible, and they all kind of take the start, and then moments later they all go into this elevator, and they all have they're just all looking at each other like really chuffed with themselves. They're like, I feel kind of good.
Really positive outcome about all this. I don't know why.
I think we're going to be okay. And Egg Shen's look, he's just like, yeah.
Yeah, so, and then fucking he nails it. Kurt Russell just nails it. Is it just me? Is it getting really warm in here? Like, it's just a wonderful way to end that scene. There's nothing too is when they're about to drink the potion, and then Chen just looks at everybody and just big pause, and he goes, "Cheers!" and they drink, and then they do the whole thing about may the wings of liberty never lose a feather. So it's Wang is American, and then I kind of like that, even though it's being pro-American right now is kind of it's a bit loaded. But I liked the fact that that's what he was. He was an American. He has Chinese heritage, and he's very proud of his Chinese heritage. But he is an American, and that was really cool.
Yes.
But yeah, so basically Ed's loaded them up with super potion, which is essentially means they are on a level playing field now when finding the immortals, because they've got superpowers. And it also explains how there's only like half a dozen Cheng Sheng warriors with them. They're going to take the entire Wing Kong army on just a lot of them. So yeah. Boom.
So this is where they eventually kind of come into more the domain area of Lao Peng, and there's a big kind of ceremony going on. Which is the marriage ceremony. Oh no, hold on. There's a bit before where they meet the weird kind of bobbly head up with the eyes thing. Sorry, first.
Yes.
That happens before they get in and do that. Is that, or am I?
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, they see this thing that's like a big. It's actually a creature that's in Dungeons and Dragons too.
Oh right.
It's a big floating ball thing they can see
with lots of
with
eyes.
multiple eyes.
Mm.
And then basically whatever it sees, so does Lopan.
Yeah.
And
so we get that bit, and then it gets chased off. So then Lao Peng knows that they're coming. Essentially,
they're there, and he doesn't seem that bothered.
No.
Yeah.
And then the ceremony scene's happening, and so they're all kind of watching, and Egg is saying, "Not yet. We've got to wait, make sure he's mortal."
No.
So he's using this needle, and he's stabbing Mao Ling.
He stabs Mao Ying. Yeah. Mao Ying. He's going to stab her.
And when he does that, his fingertips start to bleed, which is kind of showing that it's working.
And he's pale, and he starts to show a bit of color to his face.
Yes.
And that's when Egg, and it's really interesting because Wang wants to kill him now, and Wang says if she's married to him, then it's too late because that's a big deal.
Yeah.
To him, but he's like, no, you got to wait till she is married because then I can kill him. And then it sort of happens, and then that big blobby thing that with the eyes sees them.
Yeah.
And Wang stabs it and kills it.
Yeah.
And that's when Lopan says they're here. Fucking, he sends his troops to kill them.
Yeah.
And they go, okay, fight's on. And Zap Bone goes, come on, guys, yeah! And he shoots his gun in the air, knocks out a piece of masonry from above him, and knocks himself out.
Yeah.
And it is this really cool, iconic shot where these two armies face each other, and he's in the middle of them all, unconscious.
Yeah.
It's fucking funny. It's really funny. And so these half a dozen Wing Kong guys just kick the ass, will basically hold their own against an army of Wing Kong because they've got magic potion.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. And a huge fight scene kind of breaks out between them, and the main kind of bit is where I forgot his name. Rain and Wang go head to head, and they're having the kind of big kind of fight scene. And Grace is kind of shoved to one side, and Lao Peng kind of grabs Mao Ying, and they kind of make their exit kind of as Thunder is their bodyguard, essentially protecting them as they got the escalator and out.
Actually,
and
before that, though, there's this really cool scene where Egg Sheng fires his grenade launcher effectively at Lao Peng. And Lao Peng says, right, let's do this. And they have this mystical fight where Egg Shen uses this
How did I forget
stone.
That?
Yeah. And then
I'm glad
he fires
you said
his
that.
purple laser beam. And Lao Peng he does his long fingernails, interlocks them and fires this green laser beam. and then they zap and they become these avatars in this other plane. These
I love that moment though. It's really surreal at this point from what we've seen already. But I really love the inclusion of this.
Oh, it's really great. But I went through a phase where I told you I'm watching a shit ton of Chinese soap operas, martial art period soap operas at this point. One thing I did that there's two things you need to know about these martial arts soap operas from the 80s. They ripped off a lot of music from Star Wars. They would literally use music from major American pitch movies and use their soundtrack as their soundtrack because they ignored copyright. So I saw one of my favorite Chinese soap operas, which I forget the name of, but they used the soundtrack to Star Wars. And the other thing they did after a while, because of Star Wars, is that they got more mystical and they got more special effects laden. And there was one really cool, I don't know the name of it, Chinese martial arts soap opera where all the characters could fire different laser bolts out of their hands. Mm-hmm. And it was really fucking cool. So this scene reminded me of that. It's these two magic users. Yeah,
they go head to head. That's right. Yeah. And it's cool.
And it's really cool. Yeah, and that's it. They literally have these two avatars have swords and they clash 3 times. That's all they do, and you could clearly tell it takes a lot out of them. That was really powerful, and I love this throwaway line that Lao Ping has saying it's peasant magic. So they've clearly have a lot of history. Yeah. These two have clearly have a lot of history.
It is a cool moment. You're right,
and it says a lot about their relationship. In just one sentence, and it's fucking peasant magic. Yeah, which means he really disrespects him, but at the same time, Egg Shen can clearly hold his own. So
that's it.
Peasant. He may be a peasant in origin, but his magic is powerful. They can help. They literally fight each other to a standstill. So it's really cool.
Yeah, that's right. No, it is a cool scene, and I'm glad you brought that back in. So anyway, so that they do. Lao Peng does manage to escape with Mao Ying, though, and as I said, and is guarded off with thunder, and I think lightning then blows up their exit so that nobody can follow them except Wang has already managed to sneak in and follow them.
And Wang has killed Lightning, hasn't he?
Oh no,
he's killed
Rain.
Yeah.
No, he killed Rain.
He's killed Rain. Yeah,
Yeah,
killed Rain.
that's right. Down and out.
Yeah.
They have a big battle scene, and he kind of does this thing where he does this thing where he runs over the archway thing as well at one point.
Yeah, it's really cool, and he raises his eyebrows.
Yeah.
But he does this thing where he throws. Yeah, the Rain. Again, wire work was so common to me at this point. Seeing characters fly to the air, and you hear the sound effect of somebody waving a blanket on a microphone. Yeah. And literally sort of finding midair. And I loved how this potion made Wang kill this guy, even though it's a sword. It's a steel sword, so I don't know. Anyway, but Wang throws a sword through this guy's heart as he's flying out and kills him.
That's
so
right.
He killed an immortal.
So he's killed an immortal, which is kind of interesting because you're like, how the fuck did that happen? And wait a minute, these things can be killed. And then, so Jack then grabs Gracie, and then they try and escape out the way they came. Yes. And at which point, that's when they kiss in the lift because he's all kind of high,
hot for her because she looks kind of cool. And then when he comes out of the lift, he's got bright red lipstick on.
I love that bit,
which is brilliant. Again, it's great.
It's so good. Yeah,
it's so funny. It's really cool. And he's a clown, but it's really cool. Really, really works. They find Lopan and Thunder and Mao Ying, and Mao Ying says, "I don't belong to you because, as we know, women are property." So fair enough. And he wants to because Gracie's now no longer with him. He's got to sacrifice her, which he doesn't want to do, but he's going to have to.
Yeah.
Thunder at one point says, "Master, you are fresh." Had to say that. And then literally, the Gracie tries to sneak up behind him with a spear. I don't know what she's going to do with that.
No.
And then Burton comes out, and Lao Ping has Mao Ying hostage, and Burton literally, without even thinking, throws his knife. No. At this point, Wang comes in. That's right.
Wang comes in, and him and Thunder have this kind of off-scene kind of battle, which we kind of off camera. Sorry,
you see bits of
of it. Yeah, and
Thunder's just smashing shit. Yeah,
he's just going around going, "I'm pissed, man."
Yeah, smash it. And so, Jack just decides to throw a knife, not even thinking that he's going to kill Mao Ying, which is just, but he misses both of them. It's so, and it hits a gong, so it gives that boing.
Yeah.
It's a great moment of just like, he's really not a hero. He's kind of like, well, I think he's a hero, but he's kind of just a goof. And for some reason, Lopan just hands it back to Jack and picks up the knife. And the knife is something I thought his knife was so cool. It was such a cool knife. And he actually says, "Nice knife," and he just throws it at Jack. And what does Jack do? He snatches it midair, throws it back without even thinking.
Yeah, like and kills him really quick, instinctual thing.
Really quick.
And it throws it back and goes straight into Lao Peng's head. And because he's mortal,
he's dead.
He's gone.
And,
he's out of
as previously established, it's all in the reflexes. It's one thing Jack does have is he has phenomenal reflexes.
Exactly.
So it's really cool. It's really cool. And it's a cool moment. It's a good way.
Yeah. And at this point, Thunder then comes back in. He sees his master's dead. So what does he do?
Yeah.
Blows himself up.
Hits self-destruct.
He's like, fuck this noise. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And expands to the point where he blows up, which I kind of was like, oh.
Yeah,
okay.
It is kind of odd. But hey, it's not completely
that's right. So the rest of them all trying to then kind of make their way out, and that's when they meet Lightning, who stands at the end of the corridor just blowing up shit with his lasers. Not his lasers, his lightning bolts.
Lightning bolts.
Just going a bit crazy. And like, well, while you're doing that, we're going to escape out of this hole.
How'd you get up there?
It wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy.
And so they slowly kind of escape.
He fires this really cool handheld crossbow, which is a pulley system that pulls him right up. It's really amazing. Yeah,
it's kind of cool. And they go out the hole, and then but Lightning Dude is still chasing them.
Wang's the last one, and Lightning's already come up, so Wang's in trouble.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Egg picks up the statue and drops it on him, which is enough to kill him.
Done.
Done.
Oh, yeah. So these three people that caused such a threat at the beginning.
Yeah,
it turns out
they're fine.
Yeah,
they're done.
Right. Yeah, they're done.
They're fine.
Out of there. So they escape. They get out, and they everyone's happy. And
it's this really cool scene where he goes, "My truck, that's my truck," and they run to his truck,
And they
and Egg they're chased by security guards, which Egg blows up with an explosive diamond or some shit. And there's a really cool scene where like, oh no, they took the keys. She goes, don't you have a spare? And he goes, yeah, I've got a spare. It's behind underneath the thing. So again, he's such a clown. And he's like, okay, no, it was 6.9 on the Richter scale. And he pulls out in reverse. Smashes out backwards.
There's a good thing. There was a good interview behind it. You know, the EPK kind of stuff that they do with these films. And Kim Cattrall talks about the two characters, and she says, well, you know, she's the brains and he's the brawn, essentially. Like, he's all action, but she's the smarts. And so their opposites will attract, and that's what kind of that energy happens. But they were never destined to be together because they're so different. Like, she's got the smarts and he's the brawn, sort of thing. So you know, and so we get this fine, like, you know, they drive out. He just reverses the truck out, smashes through. He's like, sorry about that. And then they drive off. There's a scene that's cut out at this point too, which you can see on one of the extras, where they stop at these lights and they're having this conversation, which is in the original film. At which point they see the original trio of the street gang driving past in their Pontiac.
Oh, really?
And so Jack kind of says, I've just got to do one thing first. And so he follows them, and they're at this dock side, and the three of them are just, you know, the street gang guys are sitting in their car, and they're on this dock, and they're just kind of, you know, chilling out. At which point Jack comes up behind in the truck and just bashes into the back of them, and their car goes off into the water. And he goes, right, now we can go.
Brilliant. I should have kept that. I should have kept that.
So anyway, so the end scene is like, you know, it's the triumph scene. They're all back in the Dragon of the Black Pearl restaurant, and Lopan is defeated. Egg then decides that he's going to go on a very long vacation. And they kind of, there's a moment where you're going to go back to China. He goes, oh, China's always in the heart. I don't need to go there. And there's a scene where then Jack is kind of packing up to go, and the moment, you know, that you kind of said right at the very beginning as we were talking, one of the things that your dad had mentioned, and there's the scene between Jack and Gracie, and Margot's like, aren't you even going to kiss her goodbye? And he's just like, no. And because it's a hero's exit, like he's a bit like, you know, the Clint Eastwood Man with No Name kind of moment. You know, it's a nod to those kind of Western, you know, heroes where they're drifters. They won't ever be tied down. You know, and he even says like, I could, you know, you could, or she says that, I think, to him. About kind of settle down and blah blah blah. But that's just not his thing. And so he just leaves. And he packs
my dad used to put it. You basically you rescue. Was it ride on the girl and kiss the horse? I don't know, something like that. But yeah,
there's a moment right. Again, this was cut, and I mean I was meant to look this up as well before or rewatch it again, and I forgot to before we were recording. But he goes to Jack. There's a scene just outside as he leaves, and we see Gracie looking at him through the window, and all of a sudden Egg comes out of an alleyway, and he says something to Jack of poetic notion. I've forgotten what the hell it was, and it's like a final moment between them before then Jack hits the road and goes. And so the very, very end, we get a conclusion scene where Jack's doing his usual kind of talking away. Excuse me, and on the CB radio, and then it kind of pans along the back of the truck, and we see the monster. That had kidnapped Gracie earlier along, which is his stowaway and is the kind of last remaining monster, I guess, that kind of was a bit forgotten about. And we just have that kind of close-up shot of him going as it ends, and that's how the film concludes. What a ride, man! What a ride!
Yeah, well, it's a great film. Really cool. It is, and it's one of the things. Not a lot happens to the plot is pretty straightforward. But it's just jammed. It's just your memory of it. So it's just filled with really cool stuff and moments and scenes and imagery and so on and so forth. It's interesting that you said the one thing my dad picked up on and I picked up on was like I thought it would finish in the lawyer's office at the way it started, because it's supposed to be the end of Egg Cheng's tale of what he's told. But now that you told me that scene was an add-on, okay, that kind of makes sense why it did end on that shot of the monster.
Yeah.
as opposed to cutting back to Egg Shen going, and that's what happened. Ha ha ha. Yeah. So really, really cool. They're gonna do remake with The Rock. That's the last I heard. Which would be
I don't
interesting.
know if I don't know if The Rock's attached.
I don't think
anymore.
it's happening.
There was a lot of conversation as well about Wyatt Russell playing the role instead, Kurt Russell's actual son.
Right.
As well, which kind of got bandied around for a little bit because he was last seen that I remember in Overlord. That you and I went to see. But like, look, just on this too, though. So there's a couple of things I just want to talk about before we kind of talk about how the film feels with us and whether we'd recommend it and the usual jazz before we close off. But a few kind of little tidbits. So Kurt Russell was talking about his role as Jack, and he basically says he's a bit of a screw up, and in his heart he thinks he's Indiana Jones, but the circumstances are always too much for him. So like he tries, he's very brave act, but like he's always bigger than chews off more than he can, bites off more than he can chew. Is the expression? Sorry. John Carpenter hired Dennis Dunn to play the role of Wang Chi off the back of Year of the Dragon.
That's
watching that.
That's what an intense film that is.
That's so good film. But originally, apparently, Jackie Chan was actually considered to play the role of Wang Chi.
Right.
But he had a few box office flops at that point. So this is like I think the big brawl in American films. Big Brawl and The Protector came out, and so they kind of went against him. So you can kind of see, like you were talking about Jackie Chan earlier on, and he's known for that kind of very kind of screwball kind of comedy / action kind of stuff anyway. So you can kind of see how that would have worked if that had gone ahead.
Well, the whole point. I mean, Sylvester Stallone loved Jackie Chan, right?
Yeah.
So Tango and Cash came out soon after this.
Yeah.
But there's a scene in the opening Tango and Cash where Sylvester Stallone's character is stopping these drug runners in the middle of a freeway in the middle of a desert.
Yes.
And these bad guys are coming at him in a big truck, my wife would call it a lorry because she's English. This big 18-wheeler truck.
Yeah.
And he reloads his gun. He pulls out this really short Slumdose 38, drops out all these bullets, puts in these other different bullets in, which are like these armor-piercing bullets. And he holds up this tiny little pistol at this 18-wheeler that's barreling down on him. Then he literally just fires it in the air. And the truck brakes because it doesn't want to hit him. And these bad guys come flying out of the front windscreen and land at his feet. Yeah. That scene is shot for shot a rip-off of a Jackie Chan film.
Right.
Police Story. The very first Police Story.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I have seen that.
So again, there's sort of a connection there. And I know what you mean because I used to, it's like Jackie Chan did try to break into Western cinema with Battle Creek Ball and all that, and they were both pretty bad films. But it is interesting if he had done this because, like I said, the Carpenter gets Chinese cinema. He gets Chinese action as well.
Yeah.
And I think he would have given Jackie leeway to do those scenes.
I reckon it would have been really interesting, really
fucking awesome.
Yeah.
All
due respect to obviously Dennis Dunn as well, because like he owns the role that when he comes into it. But we're just talking
hypotheticals. Completely.
Yeah.
And that's because I know a big part of why Jackie can't replicate what he does in Hong Kong cinema in Western cinema is that Hollywood has this weird thing called rules and regulations and insurance policies, which is because Jackie can shut down an entire film if he has an injury. The film shuts down.
Yeah.
And the only way he's ever been able to get around that is that he pays for it himself. He pays for the stunt crew.
Yeah.
He pays for time off. Because he's a gazillionaire, he can do that. So, and that's the only way he can do that because nobody in their right mind would bankroll a film that if your leading actor can stop acting for a year because he's broken his brain, which he has done. He's literally cracked his skull. He's done all sorts of injuries because that's the Jackie Chan style. They're ridiculously dangerous stunts. So it is interesting, but I think there was a period of time where you thought, oh yeah, if they do a remake with Jackie in it, that'd be fucking awesome. Clearly now he's too old. He's 60 plus, so wouldn't work. But I guess asking that question, if you were to remake it now, how would you do it?
Oh, dude. like
Would you make it a sequel or a remake?
See, I struggle with it because I struggle with it because I feel like it's one of those untouchable movies, you know. Like
I agree. I think it is.
I wouldn't like to do that. I think if you could do it, I wouldn't do it as a remake. I could do it. I could see a sequel where somehow and use some, because there is some vampire kind of Dracula kind of folklore that's kind of weaved into this a bit. I found, and you could do a bit of a resurrection of Lao Peng through some kind of MacGuffin of, like, you know, resurrecting his ashes some way, because I don't know. Someone else can fill in the gap there, but like, and bring him back to life again, or like his spiritual form back to life. So then he's then on, and so at this point we get an aged Wang Chi kind of trying to track down Jack to stop Lao Pan again, and you know, throw in a couple of younger dudes to kind of help them out a bit, but then play on the fact that they're just too old for this shit along the way. I don't know. But I don't know. I say that, but I would rather it was just left, you know, untouched. You know, there was a comic crossover with Snake Plissken and Jack Burton that kind of came out.
Comics for me. You bought those comics for me.
I was going to say, I was like, I don't remember. I never read them, so I was just like, all right. I don't know. But there you go. I gave them to you. That's why.
Yeah, you're a good friend.
So
I would. What about if you did like a there's that word again, Netflix special, where it's a set in the same universe, but a completely different story.
I can totally see us. But like, what is that without Jack, though? That's the thing, right? Because like, I don't know. So I unless I see Kurt in it, I don't know.
Well, you allude to his adventures. You probably do a cameo at some point. But for me, as much as I loved him, for me it was the universe that he set up, where Chinese magic is real, and it's
I like that. But
underground,
then,
underculture.
What are we talking though? Because that's a different beast. Do you know what I mean? I think that would be.
That's why it's set in the same universe. It's not a sequel, so it's not trying to outdo stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be something to do with, it'd be east meets west in some form or another. People having this adventure in this, discovering this subculture within the streets of San Francisco, Chinatown that's underneath, and having an adventure amongst it. And apparently back in the 80s, some truck driver called Jack Burton once had a fought with this Chinese god called Pan. And then if you had the same humor as well, the magical
I get
elements,
it.
and the kung fu elements these days would be fucking awesome. Right?
I'm sure somebody would snap up that within a heartbeat and go, let's make that, because that's going to sell us dollars, make us dollars. All right, so like, here's the thing. Speaking of dollars, though, when the film kind of was actually finally released, it was a massive commercial failure. It didn't flick. Like, it got something like 11.1 million in North America, which and it was hoping to get like somewhere between 19 and 25 million to reap its rewards. So it just tanked big time. And the result of that was that Carpenter kind of became distanced from Hollywood and thought, you know, this was my big moment to kind of make a real big film. I'm just going to go independent again. And so the follow-up film that he did from this was Prince of Darkness. So that's where he reunites with Donald Pleasance again, and we will talk about that in our next podcast. But interestingly, the film Big Trouble then still became a cult classic, you know, and it's averaging around 79% on Rotten Tomatoes. Probably arguably could deserve to be a bit higher than that. But what is it that makes it a cult classic, though? Why do you think it's held so highly? Do you still hold it highly?
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons why it resonated with me as a kid. Is like this is very me. It was very what I had been exposed to Chinese cinema, Hong Kong television. It was a world that I knew with my brothers and my cousins, but none of my friends, who are mostly Australian, didn't really watch it. Even my Chinese Australian friends didn't really get VHS tapes, so they didn't see it. And I felt this filmmaker was privileged to my world and got it. And he made a film that was like, look how cool this shit is, guys.
Yeah.
And it still holds up mostly, pretty much, to this day. I think it's, as a filmmaker now, I look at it and go, okay, that's interesting. But I literally, there's not that many sins for me. Even the whole Master, you are fresh, and the whole you play your cards right. You wish to talk about it. Like it's like to me, he's Chinese. He doesn't speak English.
Yeah.
That's his accent, right? So it was not a parody for me. It wasn't talking down to me. It doesn't talk.
Yeah.
I don't think. I think it talks. It really admires a Hollywoodized version of Chinese cinema. It's very commercial Chinese cinema.
Yeah.
And it pays homage to that. So I loved it. I loved it as a kid. Still do. And it's a cult, like it's popcorn film, right? It's a popcorn film, big time.
Yeah.
And it's like I wasn't surprised to hear that you say it was a flop because I could see how most Western people wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
But the sort of people that you and I like would get it.
Yes,
and
that's why I guess that's what surprised me because I don't know. I don't know when I must have watched it on VHS too when I first watched it, but it was instantly like it hit me, like it was like this is an awesome fucking film. So when I read that, I was like, really? I was surprised. I was like, because to me, it's always been this great movie. So with that in mind, though, would you recommend it to a modern going audience? Do you think a modern going audience would get it?
Yes, my stepdaughter's the big gauge for me. Like she's not a film. She's not.
So
a film
she watched it with
all.
your wife, just in that recent video.
Yeah, my wife, and my wife was like, and she's halfway through. She's like, "Is this a comedy?" I'm like, "Yeah, I forgot to mention that." Because she's like, "Oh, John Carpenter, this isn't a horror film." But I think for me, my stepdaughter, who is not a film person at all, she tends to like the same things I like.
Yeah.
So I think I would recommend it to any young person and say, look, like you said, to me, The Matrix was the first film that really broke that barrier and made Chinese kung fu cinema accessible to Western audiences.
Yeah.
And again, we've talked about this in other podcasts, but after The Matrix came out, Charlie's Angels, fucking Shrek, so many films came out with the bullet shot, and all the actors did martial arts, all the actors did kung fu. And that was just a real spate of it, and that's a sign of a film that's seminal for a generation. Is that it spawns a lot of imitators. Again, Star Wars did it. Star Wars came out, and so many space adventure films came out after that. But you're talking from The Matrix to this movie, like a good quarter of a century, right? So actually, at one point, I think Jack Burton does say about Lo Pan, some guy leapt over my truck using wire, did a wire jump over my truck as if pulled by wires, which is a bit of a tell because he jumped. He literally in the universe of the movie, he jumped over your truck because he's a demon.
Yeah.
In the movie, yes, he got thrown over your truck by a wire work. He shouldn't have mentioned wires.
I didn't mean wires. I mean
wires. Yeah,
mystical force.
That's it. But I think the movie. I can see how the movie would be very it'd be made really well today, but it would be criticized by so many people who have watched a lot of kung fu cinema and are self-described experts, myself included. Yeah. And so it wouldn't satisfy. It's a bit like doing the Star Wars sequels episodes. The current Star Wars sequels, it was never. No, I mean, they've been pillared they've been panned from pillar to post, right? Yeah. But it was almost like so much time had passed, and those original films have meant so much to so many people. You could have made the Citizen Kane of science fiction films, and people would still hate it. Yeah. Like anybody, it was a poison chalice. Any filmmaker that got Star Wars, yes, they'd be like, oh my god, my fantasy. This is the reason why I got into films in the first place. I'd love to make a Star Wars film. Oh my god, I'm on the set of the Millennium Falcon. How cool is this? I'm taking photos on Twitter and Instagram. But then you get down to it, no matter what film you make, no matter how good a storyteller you are, you're gonna get fucking caned. And I feel probably that's the biggest sword hanging over your head if you attempted to make this film, even if you're a really good filmmaker who gets Chinese action cinema.
I mean, like it happened with Suspiria, the remake of Suspiria, and going back to the horror circuits, right? Yeah. And you and I went to see one of the advanced screenings of that, and I was a big fan of the original, so obviously my mind is like these people that love these, like you were saying with the science fiction kind of take on Star Wars. That I went in there kind of going, this film's shit. Like it wasn't shit. Like, no, I correct myself. The film's not shit. It's a very well made film, but it's not a horror. and it's not
Yeah.
in keeping with the original film and the tone. So
Yeah.
like you can't go into it going, it's a very different beast. It's a very dramatic film, and
Yes.
there's some great elements in it, but it's not what we paid the money for to get in there to see, right? So
Yeah.
I think things like this, like Escape from New York, that too. But things like Big Trouble in Little China are going to have that same kind of effect. You know, like people that carry a torch with the original film are
Because
not
it
gonna really
means
want to.
it means different things to different people. So as a filmmaker, you're going to resonate and pay homage to things that this film meant to you, but it might mean like you. The fact that you said straight away it has to have Jack Burton about it, because Jack Burton was a big important part for you.
Yeah.
For me, it was the kung fu. It was that Jack was kind of secondary. As much as cool as Kurt Russell was, it was always about the universe that he'd set up for me.
Yeah, true.
So if I did a film that paid homage to that, you're probably going to go, "Where the fuck is Jack? Like, where's?"
Yeah. Although now we're talking it through, and we often do this. You and I, Ang. Now we're talking it through. I kind of get what you're saying. You could pick it up with another story with that element in mind. Yeah. And because Burton is the drifter. Anyway, side stuff. Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, so you would definitely recommend it to a modern grown audience. Okay.
Fuck no, it's shit. No, I'm kidding. Yes, of course.
Oh my god!
Okay. It's a great film.
Cool.
Yes.
All right. So with that in mind, we're probably kind of wrapping up here with our discussions on Big Trouble in Little China, and we're going to continue to discuss more of John Carpenter's films along the way. As I said, the next one up will be Prince of Darkness, followed swiftly by They Live, and many more as we kind of continue through that. So do stick around for more of our ramblings around the podcast chats that we do on John Carpenter. Until then, thanks for listening. I am your host, Saul Muerte, and lead surgeon of the podcast, and I was ably assisted by Anthony, the Big Cheese Yee.
See you, bye.
Goodbye.
You're listening to the Surgeons of Horror podcast. Music supplied by Peter Nezik. For more discussions or podcasts, head over to surgeonsofhorror.com or head over to our Facebook and Twitter sites for the latest news and updates.